guys, it's Chloe, and for the first time in almost 2 years, welcome to another edition of Con Chronicles. Sorry for missing an upload last month and most of this month. I was busy crunching for Metrocon, which we're going to talk about today. This convention was full of firsts, and not just because it's the first con I've been to since Hallmat 2019. For my partner, it was his first convention ever, his first time cosplaying, and he did his first photo shoot. For me, it was my first Metrocon, my first time wearing a cosplay I made entirely from scratch, and my first time competing in a real cosplay contest, which I'll talk about later. But first, let's go over what did and didn't work with this con. The two most hit or miss aspects of the con for me were panels and staff, and they kind of went hand in hand in some ways. My partner and I bounced around between a dozen different panels throughout the weekend, and at least 3 of them were derailed before they even started because the TV in the room didn't work because they weren't set up properly beforehand. As a result, these panels that could have been great were just okay. When I was doing my panel, I was lucky enough to have a staffer who was on the ball and went back and forth to get what he needed to make sure my TV worked. But the staffer who was supposed to be checking on the history of cosplay panel left to get a cord for the TV and never came back. But technical issues aside, programming was pretty weak, which is why we bounced around so much. The only other 2 panels we enjoyed were Intro to Cosplay competitions with Katie Singamabobs and the Deathmatch, which really needs to be an official stage show like it is at Anime Boston and Kineticon. I mean, if Metrocon can do cosplay chess to that scale, they can do Deathmatch. The last thing I'll say about panels is I noticed all of the fun late night events like trivia and bad fanfiction reading were scheduled for Friday night, with nothing all that interesting happening Saturday night. So it would be nice if those popular evening panels were more spread out across the weekend next year. Another thing that disappointed me was the fact that Cosplay Repair Station was eliminated due to COVID. Like, there wasn't even a first aid area, which I feel like should be standard, pandemic or not, because you don't know what kind of emergency could pop up. I mean, you're already running a 3-day convention with thousands of people. Just add the damn repair station. It's not like removing it would have reduced virus spread when you have sweaty nerds dancing on each other at the rave down the hall. The best event was Cosplay Chess by far. Not only does Metrocon have the distinction of being the first convention to ever do this event, but they do it the best because they go all out by creating a story around it and having epic stage combat. Normally in Cosplay Chess at other cons, it's hit, KO, but at this one they actually fight. It's like WrestleMania for weebs and I absolutely love it. Another thing I loved about this con was the venue. So many good photo shoot spots. I would glance out the window during a panel and see a nice porch-like area by the water, or I would find a similar view while passing by on my way to the gaming room. Both times I thought to myself, I want to shoot over there. Hopefully I'll get to during Tampa Bay Comic Con, which is also at the Tampa Convention Center. If you want to switch things up, the Marriott across the street also has some nice backdrops in and outside the hotel. Now let's talk about the cosplay contest. I've entered casually run contests at smaller cons, some of them virtual. I actually did a video on the first 2 contests I entered if you want to check out that video in the top right corner. But this was the first time I entered a big competition with pre-judging where you talk about craftsmanship and bring progress photos of your work, which I did. See, this is a portfolio I write in with my reference photos and progress pics. While the staff were a mixed bag at this con, my partner and I had to ask 5 different people where the cosplay booth was because the first 4 didn't know. The staffers running the contest did the best at their jobs. They kept everything orderly and took the time to answer all of our questions, I know I asked several, so that the show ran fluidly and nobody walked off the wrong side of the stage. The only improvements I think are needed are make sure the ramp is set up before the convention starts because you know at least one person is going to need it every year, and it would have been nice if there were speakers pointing backstage so we could hear what was going on. We couldn't hear winners being announced, so the staffers had to run on and off stage to repeat everything to us. But while the contest was delayed an hour because of the ramp being set up, I was impressed that we did the entire show in an hour and we're done by 5. Good on them for allocating extra time for the contest on the schedule. I even made it into pre-judging early, so overall I'd say timing was pretty good considering contests are notorious for starting and running late. And of course I had a ton of fun and made some new friends despite being super nervous about what I had just gotten myself into, and I didn't fall down. The hilarious thing is, those jet boots were more comfortable and easier on my feet than the little wedge sandals I wore for my casual Stella on Friday. Those shoes blistered my heels 15 minutes into the con, but my feet were better protected from the jet boots because I had band-aids, socks, and my boot covers in between them. Speaking of feet, yeah I know, weird segue, but for the first time in a few years, and not because of COVID, I actually bought stuff from the dealer's room. I got these Sonic the Hedgehog socks, plus a SpongeBob pair for my partner, and I got these Sailor Moon pajama pants, which are very soft and super comfortable. I wish I got a small instead of a medium, but hopefully they'll shrink in the wash. I found it funny there was a booth with Greyhound dogs at an anime convention, as that didn't really fit the theme, but I'm sure they were there for a reason. I know I've been going on for a bit now. This is definitely the longest con recap I've ever done, but I'll wrap things up real quick. Overall, this was a great first convention post-COVID, or pandemic age, whatever you want to call it. This is exactly why I was excited to move to a bigger city so I'd be close to bigger cons like these. I'm still getting a hotel next year, but for now, it was nice saving some dough. I do plan to try out the other two cons in the city, Tampa Bay Comic Con this weekend and LumiCon Halloween weekend, but I'm already digging the Tampa convention scene. It's a great crowd. If you were at Metrocon this year, feel free to share your own experiences in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, tap that notification bell for good measure. You can also follow me on my other social media linked in the description below, and stay tuned for the next episode where I'll be taking on Tampa Bay Comic Con. See you then!